Well, I always knew you had conversational skills. You just took it outside the box.
What do you mean?
Well, you used to have conversations at home. You just never took the conversations outside of your home environment.
Like when I would talk to myself and make up fake baseball games and not play them with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, this is different.
You always had conversation with your friends. You just didn't take it out into the public and speak with people that you weren't in your comfort zone. But you always spoke to me.
How old do you think I was when I started making all the rules in the house?
I don't know.
20s?
I think maybe when you went to college.
We were talking before about the food in the pantry closet when I threw out everything in the house and made everyone start eating healthy.
Yeah, and we resisted, but gradually, one by one. I mean, Daniel resisted the most, and then he went in with the program, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best persuasive strategy is you just keep telling people to do something for long enough, and then they just get exhausted.
I don't think it's just that. I think that I saw the results on you and the difference that it made in your life, so I was open to doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew that it was positive.
Yeah, me eating grilled chicken instead of chicken cutlets. I was like in better shape, and you were like,
when did your food changes begin? What prompted that?
Well, when I was a senior in college, Jordan and I started working out like with more intention, and there was one time in particular where we went to the gym, and then we went to Five Guys after the gym, and we ate like the greasy, gross food they have there, and then we immediately felt so like it was such a waste of the exercise that we went to the gym a second time. We went
right
back
after
to the,
you ate that.
Yeah, because we were like,
to work off that meal.
What was the point of doing the workout if we were just going to eat that? We need to do another workout and start eating healthier.
And really, that was the turning point for you?
Yeah, it was like early in my senior year of college.
But then you became very educated on food. So
Yeah.
when did you start to do that, to get all that research done?
Like after I graduated. Maybe the biggest motivation was I didn't want to be tired. I was eating a lot of protein and doing a lot of exercise, but I was eating too much food and I was always tired. I had to take a nap every day.
Before that time, your snack was an Entenmann's golden fudge cake with a glass of milk, macaroni and cheese,
Mm-hmm.
chips, soda. You drank soda too,
Yeah.
right?
All of college, yeah. Jack and Coke every time I went out.
Jack and Coke. You had a lot of pasta, the Ronzoni pasta. You did not have a good diet.
No.
You ate fried chicken, cutlets. Yeah.
I think most of my motivations for changing food had to do with being too fatigued, which is weirdly connected to what happened later. But even I used to, when I was working at RBC, I always needed to take a nap. Like I always felt like
You
I needed
fell
to
asleep
sleep.
in the car. Daddy was mortified. Somebody went outside.
On my lunch break?
Somebody went outside and came back in and said, your son is sleeping in the parking lot. He was mortified. He called me up. He said, I am so embarrassed.
I forgot about that.
My son is sleeping in the parking lot when he's supposed to be working.
Yeah.
And I understood that because I used to fall asleep a lot in the middle of the day.
It's hard.
I'm sure it was my food.
When you eat like that, it's hard to... I used to eat like big deli, like hoagies, like sub rolls before basketball practice, and pizza, and is just as much bread as possible right before I would play basketball. So maybe it would have been better if I didn't do
when
that.
Aunt Debbie and I were in high school, I was in college and she was in high school, we would come home from school, eat a salami sandwich on bread, like white or rye bread, and then we would share a full bag of Doritos with a bottle of Coke. And then as soon as we finished watching our soap operas, we would lay down and fall asleep until dinner. And I didn't know why we were so exhausted, but that was not a good meal choice.
You probably didn't even know that was bad until you were 50.
There was no information. We didn't have any internet.
Yeah.
Where were we hearing about health?
I didn't know any better until I was in my 20s.
I fed you when you were a child, I didn't know any better. I gave you apple juice.
I loved apple juice.
You lived on apple juice. I didn't know that was bad.
I feel like it would still taste really good. Actually, I don't think I could get it down.
Well, I thought that fried chicken fingers, homemade, and pasta with ketchup on the side was a healthy meal.
So basically what happened for the audience is that you didn't like how you were feeling or how you looked that much, and you were eating all that stuff, and you ate Hershey Kisses like we were talking about before,
Well,
every
what
night.
happened was I was very thin, and then about 12, 13 years ago, I probably weighed about 110 to 15 pounds, and then I had foot surgery.
And you're 5'2".
Right, and
Yeah.
I had foot surgery, and I was confined to bed for basically a whole summer, and I stopped exercising because of that. I used to exercise regularly, a few times a week, and I did boot camp, and I stopped exercising because of the foot, and I laid in bed, and then I was going through some difficult period in my life, and I was under a lot of stress, and so I wasn't going to the gym, and I started eating chocolate kisses, bowls of cereal, all this garbage, and I gained close to 25 pounds. And then you saw this, and one day you walked in the kitchen and you said, "Mom," you had a black hefty bag in your hand. You walked into the pantry closet and you said, "This is over." And I said, "What?" And you said, "You are no longer eating this way." And you went in the pantry closet and you threw everything out. You could, what did you throw out?
There was a tub of flour that was probably this big, there, and like powdered sugar, pancake mix,
Cereal,
all the cereal,
Pasta.
yeah, and then there were just like boxes of cookies,
pasta, oil,
yeah, regular pasta, all like the canola oil,
oil,
vegetable oil,
the bad
yeah.
peanut butter that I never
Yeah,
read the labels
peanut butter
for.
with the 10 grams
No
of sugar in
Jif.
it.
Yeah.
I
Cookies.
replaced everything.
Cookies, chips. You said, "Mom, my pantry was completely empty."
Mm-hmm.
And then you took me to Whole Foods and you took me up and down the aisles and you showed me all the labels and you said, "This is what you're eating now."
Mm-hmm.
And I listened.
So that was probably like 2015 or 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably only the second most dramatic food outburst that I've had of you not being able to eat something.
And
We'll get to the.
I listened. I listened. I came home with all of my new food choices, and within a few months, I lost close to 25 pounds.
Yeah.
I was back in the teens.
I'm taking most of the credit.
And people said, "How did you lose all this weight?" And I said, "Matt, I stopped eating shit."
Do you remember the bagel incident well?
Yeah.
Let's come back to that.
We'll circle back to that.
We'll circle back. You're saying podcast terms now.
Yes, we're going to
You've
circle
listened
back
to some
to that.
podcasts and
Yes,
you know
I
the
have.
terms.
Yes, I know that you put a pin in things and you circle
You put a
back.
pin. I've never said put a pin in anything on a podcast before,
And
or
we
maybe in
circle-
any context.
We circle back.
You circle back. It's circle back. Brett and I circle back too. Let's talk about where we are first. This
Okay.
place. Yeah. This
This,
facility.
we are at Canyon Ranch in Lenox, Massachusetts. Matt,
Our room is back there.
after a battle with breast cancer and Matt's battle with blood cancer, the two of us came here 2 years ago. Matt took me here for Mother's Day as a gift. And we came here for some exercise and renewal because at that point, even though I had lost all the weight, I had not exercised in years. And he wanted to get me back on a program
Yeah.
to get me back to the gym, to get me on a physical routine again. And so the eating right wasn't enough. I needed to just get physically healthy again. And we came here together, two of us, mother and son trip, which was amazing in and of itself. And we made so much progress here. Matt said, "I will take you, I will go with you to Canyon Ranch on the one condition that when we get back, you join the gym and you start exercising daily." And I said, "Okay, I will do that." And we came and I couldn't even do one plank. My hands, everything, I just had no strength.
It's kind of a waste we have the ropes because no one can see your arms now.
Yeah. And we did all the introductory classes. You went through all the classes with me, and we got our treatments, and we were here for 4 days. And I came back, a couple of days passed by, and you said, "It's time." And I went to Lifetime Fitness. I signed up 2 years already. and I go 5 days a week. I have built up so much stamina. Today I did boot camp.
Yeah, we this is night 2. We've done 5 classes in 2 days so far.
And I'm strong, and I could plank for a long time.
Yeah.
And I can lunge and squat, and I have muscles again.
Did you used to do so you've been here how many times?
Over 20.
So what did you used to do before?
I used to be able to do that.
Yeah. When you were in
But
your,
the last time we were here,
40s and maybe
yes.
a little in your 50s.
But I stopped working out when I was 50.
Okay, so this was like your late 30s and your 40s when you came here all the time.
Yes.
Okay. So now at 65, you're in the same shape, basically, that you were
when I was 50,
40,
before I had that
40
surgery.
to 50, after also having done chemo and radiation.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this place is different than like other spas. We were just talking about this because they have the massages and all of the salon and the spa things, and they have like the healthy food, but they also have these really intense fitness classes. Like they're hard for me too.
Well,
Obviously,
they have a lot of introductory classes, which I did the first time we came together. But now they're easy, and I can do the more advanced classes.
Now you have to do
Today I
advanced.
was doing jumping jacks and doing real training.
Yeah, just Dad's not going to believe this unless I say it on camera. Probably that Mom did 17s today, basically, or suicides.
Yeah.
Just like,
I did it.
It seems like you're training to be an athlete now.
Yeah.
You were so. The timeline is crazy because when you lost the weight, you still weren't exercising then really either.
I wasn't exercising at all because I couldn't get back to it, and then we had COVID, and then I got breast cancer, and it was
before that because it's like hard to remember when we were in New York and you tried to go to the workout class and you got vertigo.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't talked about that in a long time. Do you want to talk about that?
No, I fell in the street. I wasn't well. I wasn't well for a long time. I had emotional problems. I had mental health problems. I had physical problems.
It was like misdiagnosed medicine that caused the...
Yeah.
I like forget what the story is.
I was put on some medication that made me weak.
Yeah. So we went from... I guess because in 2019, that was when you were like, okay, I'll start working out again. Because I was kind of pushing you then. Not as hard as 2 years ago, but I was like...
And then we had COVID. I laid around for another year. Then I got breast cancer.
Well, you weren't going to work out while I was sick either.
No.
Because we were at a different doctor's appointment every day, basically.
Right. Well, you were diagnosed with this blood disease.
This was September 2019. We were in Spain, and I've talked about this I have episodes of this already. September 2019 in Spain on your anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah, where I couldn't walk anymore. We were doing like a tapas tour or something.
Yes.
And I couldn't walk anymore. And then we spent from the day we got home till probably like Thanksgiving or maybe even a little later at the doctor every day, basically trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Right.
And then when they finally figured out you laid in bed daily, I stayed home and took care of you. And then they finally figured out what they call it blood cancer, but it's platelets thief. So it's technically a cancer, but it's not the kind of cancer that you need cancer treatment. It's not a life-threatening disease at all. You just have to maintain medicine. So
I feel like you, even at the time, we'll take a break from the fitness thing for a second. I feel like even at the time you were pretty calm about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were, like, you and Dad didn't want me to see how upsetting it was because I was upset enough.
Of course.
But, like, it felt like you were both relatively calm the whole time. Like, I was much more emotionally unstable than anyone else over it, I think.
But what got you through that?
But I'm not a parent, so
what got you through that was the good nutrition and the exercise.
Eventually, because I wasn't doing it right away.
No, but you couldn't. But then eventually that's what got you to a better place.
Yeah. I'll make it about me for a little, and then we'll come back. And then we have to...
circle back.
Yeah. Because in like October and November of 2019, I was saying stuff like, "This is how it's gonna be forever. This is new normal. Like life's never gonna be the same." I was like, "I'm just gonna have no energy and not be able to do anything for the rest of my life." I was catastrophizing. Do you feel like when that was going on, you were worried that I was right, or you were just like, he'll like I don't remember, because I couldn't have a real conversation in that state.
I'm a positive person.
Yeah.
I always say it's going to be okay. We're going to work it out. And we did.
Well, even at that point, you had already been through so much in your life.
Yeah.
That was like the first really bad thing that had ever happened to me.
Right. I did a lot of research on it, and it said that you could live a fully normal life with this disease. You have to find the right medication and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought we'd work it out. But you healed yourself.
Right. I remember you saying something like, oh, yeah, the people say it's a normal lifespan after they get this. And I was arguing because I would be like, yeah, but they're 70 years old. Like, we don't, like, of course it's normal. There's only 10 or 15 or 20 years left for them anyway. So the data is flawed. And I was finding like every reason to disagree that I was going to be fine.
Yeah, but that's typical.
Yeah, no, I was very annoying probably.
Well.
As opposed to now where I'm never annoying.
Wow.
As opposed to now where I just make you do a podcast and talk about.
But you started.
Talk about trauma.
You did start to do better, and then you lived with us the whole time, and then and then during COVID you lived with us.
I got
moved
better.
in, and
I got better, like you said, starting in. Once they told me what I had. Once I got the diagnosis, I was probably still very moody for about a month. And then I just started, I think at some point I just snapped and got so angry that I was like, I started working out twice a day. I was just like, I hate this, I'm doing it anyway. Because what would happen is I would exercise and then I would need to take a nap for 3 hours because I was getting so fatigued from any exercise. So I switched the exercise and the diet.
Right.
So I didn't use a place like this to get better. I guess it wasn't COVID yet, but I knew about nutrition and I knew about exercise, and I saw a couple of doctors. There was like this Chinese doctor who said the thing about the lemon water and the ginger and all the herbs.
I indulged all of it.
And the intermittent fasting and the cutting out all the processed foods.
How many lemons did I squeeze?
We had probably at one point like gallons. There were probably 8 gallons of lemon water in the fridge at one point.
Yep.
There was probably one or two a day.
I bought a machine.
Yeah, we had a lemon squeezing machine.
Lemon squeezing machine, and I cut up the ginger, and I put in all your different herbs. We did it.
Listen, I don't know if that...
Whatever you wanted, though, I mean, you know.
Who knows what effect that really had, the lemon and the ginger.
But we did it.
So combined with the exercise, and then I started sleeping better.
And
a lot of tea.
A lot of tea.
Chamomile and lemon tea and lemon water and weightlifting and running around. I started running around the street. I was doing the bike in the basement. It was
whatever you asked for. We were just hoping.
Like
for
if
the
someone
best.
didn't know what was wrong with me, they would be like, it would have seemed more like I was training for a marathon than that I was trying to recover from an illness.
That's true.
Yeah, but fortunately, I knew about diet and nutrition before. But it also is probably true that like time, like I had a blood clot, and over time, it probably just started gradually getting smaller where my symptoms got less bad, and medication obviously helped, but I think the diet and the nutrition helped.
And then you
a lot.
finally went home.
Well, I went home on March 6th of 2020
and then
to work, and then on March 12th they closed my office.
And then
I came back because of the start of the pandemic.
And we all lived in the house.
Yeah.
With Grandma Gloria in the basement.
Yeah.
And she watched me squeeze lemons.
She didn't really understand that activity.
She thought it was nice.
It was a nice thing to do. It was nice. She didn't really, because she would worry more than you, so I didn't tell her. I would always say to her, "Oh, it wasn't so bad. I was never that sick."
And then you went home again after COVID, and then you came back again when I called you and I said I have breast cancer.
Yeah, so that was like a year after COVID started.
And then I took care of you, then you took care of me.
I don't remember the exact time. So we got vaccinated in the spring of 21.
Right.
How much time after that did you get diagnosed? Right after?
I found the lump in March.
So it was either right before or right after.
I had the surgery in May.
Yeah.
And then you came back again.
Yeah. Because once we got the vaccines, we were like, okay, we can go back to I can go back and live in Hoboken. And Brett and I were looking into, because in our apartment, Brett and I had signed a lease for a new building, and it was starting in April. And then I was like, I can't do it. And then he got his sister to live with him the first 6 months till I came back, because I stayed at home for another 6 or 7 months. Because you were in chemo for that long, till like September or October.
I was in chemo till September, and then I had the radiation. for 5 weeks, 5 days, for 25 times.
So obviously I wasn't trying to get you to exercise.
No, I was not exercising. I couldn't get off the bed.
But I had gotten so into alternative medicine from me being sick that I sort of had an idea. Like, I knew the places on the internet and on YouTube to find, like, the people who knew what to talk about on these things. You were
giving me red light therapy.
Well, red light therapy, I think, was for the recovery from the surgery, from the double mastectomy, right? Okay. But the intermittent fasting, the pre-chemo fasting, do you remember doing that?
Yes.
So it would be like 24 hours before the treatment. There's like some evidence that being in a fasted state when you do it improves the
I was so
efficacy.
Tired, I just did whatever you said. Whatever you told me.
And you'd say, I'm nauseous, and I'd be like, here, have this apple, because that's like the food that goes with nausea.
Whatever you said, I just did it because I just needed someone to tell me what to do.
Yeah. And
I just left it in your hands.
It really was a good team, because Dad doesn't know about any of that stuff, but he drove you to every doctor's appointment and was on the phone with the different doctors all day, basically. All day. That's what it felt like.
Yes.
So.
And he was working.
We had I mean, in hindsight, it's funny. He was working also. I was working also. I had a job then.
Right, but you still came.
Well, it was virtual, but yeah.
Took care of me.
Yeah. So the bagel.
Well, one day I had the chemo and I was nauseous, and then I started to feel a little better, but I had a craving for a cinnamon raisin bagel with cream cheese, which is something that I used to eat years before that as comfort food.
And the doctor said no dairy.
Right.
The doctor had said no dairy, and I knew that sugar was bad. So it's the combination of both.
A major craving for this food. And Dad went out to bagel store and bought that for me, and he brought it upstairs, and you came into the room and you said, "What is that?" And you said, "I don't think so," and you grabbed it out of my hands.
You were about to, you were like...
And I was almost in tears. I said, "But I want that." And you said, "But you're not having it."
Yeah, my memory of it is I was in my room, and I heard the door, and then I was suspicious, so I came into your room, and the brown paper bag was on your lap. It was like on your stomach, and you had the bagel up to your face, and you were like about to take a bite, and I grabbed it out of your hand. You probably got some of it on your face. And
I never ate it. No, any of it.
No, I like snatched it away from you like you were one of the dogs, and I spiked it into the garbage. I think I was trying to make a point, and I was like, "Dad, what the fuck are you?" What my memory of it is that you were like smiling, like you were like, I got caught, like you were laughing almost, like the whole scene was amusing. Dad was scared.
Well, he called a friend that he was with when he went to the bagel store, because he had been at the diner, and he called and he said, "That bagel I just went to get, it's gone."
I didn't know about that.
Matt took it away.
Yeah.
And then he started complaining about you. Could you believe he did this?
You didn't really care that much after it was over, I don't think.
Well, of course not, but I did want it.
I screamed at him very loudly for like...
Craving's a craving.
I understand. I believe you that you really wanted it before.
You've never been pregnant. When you have a craving, you need it.
But once I like scared everyone, then I think you forgot about it.
Yeah.
But I yelled, I like said like, "What the fuck? Like, this is not acceptable. Like, we're not doing this. Like, what's wrong with you?" Well, and then I stormed out of the room, and then do you remember I came back? And you two were still in there. It was probably a minute later, and I was like, I like how I handled that. Like, that was good.
Well, people have said to me, "Why is Matt in charge of everything?" And I think Aunt Debbie used to say that. And then all of a sudden, she changed her food habits too.
Yeah, I changed her also.
And so did our family.
Yeah,
I think she finally, all of a sudden, she started listening to your podcast, did the same, and yeah.
Yeah, Aunt Debbie will ask me if I've seen the latest Peter or Tia or Andrew Huber.
Yeah, won her over. But because I trust you.
I mean, Kevin's responsible for some of it too, because when he was in California,
his food changes.
He changed the food some of it before I did, because he started eating steak. I didn't know about grass-fed meat until Kevin started doing it. So we did when you finished chemo, and then I went back to Hoboken. And then I got sick immediately. That was part of the timeline also, when I couldn't stop itching.
Oh,
The first day I went back to Hoboken.
From the medicine?
No. I got COVID. Kevin and I went to the Joe Rogan comedy show where I got COVID.
Oh.
my favorite ironic thing to talk about, because he was doing like vaccine skepticism on his podcast.
Oh.
And then like I got COVID at his show. So I got COVID and I had normal symptoms, but then when it went away, I got all the, like, my body just, every time I took a shower, I would get this like crazy amount of itching.
Oh, right.
So I was really sick for like 3 weeks again. And I'd come back home. You remember I would take the showers and I'd run outside into the, because I needed to freeze dry myself, because having moisture on my body was, yeah.
Right.
And
we've been through a lot. I forgot about that whole
yeah,
routine.
that ended up being fine. I just changed medication like a few weeks later and it was fine. It was hell for 2 or 3 weeks, but then it was fine. But after that, everyone was basically fine. That was like at the end of 2022. But you still hadn't exercised in how long at that point? And you were in bed all day, and you had a lot of itching and arthritis.
10 years.
Was that the biggest? That was the biggest problem for you then? Was that you were tired and your hands hurt?
I couldn't. My hands were hurting. I had
you had finished radiation. Your hair was coming back. There weren't, like, the doctors were saying that you were, because you were considering getting the silicone implants taken back out.
Oh, yeah. I was researching why I didn't feel well. I had, I couldn't open my hands in the morning. I had soreness in my wrists. I was in severe pain in my knees. I was waking up in the middle of the night crying with pain in my joints. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I thought that it was from the implants. I started researching what could be causing all these problems. And I kept reading about breast implant disease, where your body rejects the implants. And I was extremely itchy all the time, and I kept thinking that maybe I watched documentaries on this. I was absolutely convinced that I should take these implants out.
Yeah.
I went to a rheumatologist, and she couldn't find anything wrong with me, and I didn't have any autoimmune disease. And I just kept saying, I just really think it's an implant. So I went to a doctor that does implant extractions, if that's the right word.
Sure.
And he said to me, it could be, but you need to explore everything before I take them out, because I don't want to take them out and then you still have all the symptoms. So I ended up going to a functional medicine doctor, and he tested me for the one thing that none of the other doctors tested me for. He tested me for food intolerance.
I feel like because of what I went through, because the start of me getting sick was a doctor telling me, because I had the liver readings that were off 2019 before I actually had symptoms, and the doctor, the GP said to me that I probably should just stop drinking so much. And he missed it. He never checked for the other things that would have shown that I was prone to a blood clot, and then I never would have gotten on a plane. I never would have gotten the clot.
Yeah, he told you to ignore the high platelets, that it was nothing.
No, he didn't know about that.
But it was in your blood work.
He hadn't checked it.
He didn't read it.
He just said, all I'm seeing here is liver, just stop drinking for
But your platelets on the blood report was high, but he just ignored it.
We only checked that after the fact. He didn't think to look, I think.
He didn't address it.
So what he said was just stop drinking for a month or two, and then come back. That's all he said. And then I went on an airplane because he didn't. And what I learned from it is, and Dad kept saying this, like, you have to be your own advocate. You can't just accept one doctor's opinion. What I should have done was go to another doctor and say, hey, can you check the... So because of that experience, all of us from that point forward, every time there was anything wrong, we're going to crowdsource everything.
The doctor that gave me all this testing for autoimmune, she said, well, your hands are so weak, you have inflammation, so since I can't find anything wrong with you, I suggest that you go on steroids. And I said, absolutely not. I said, I'm not going to take steroids for something that I don't know what I have. I'm not going to treat the symptoms. I want to find out what the cause is, so I could deal with the cause of it rather than just treat these symptoms.
Yeah.
So I ended up at this functional medicine doctor, and he did comprehensive food testing. Now, I never had food testing by the other doctors, and he said you could be having these problems from food. So he tested me, and sure enough, my sensitivity to gluten was off the charts. Now, I don't have celiac disease, but I still have a sensitivity to gluten. So I gave up gluten. And
Yeah, because you were eating healthy to that point, but you would still have bread sometimes.
but what I think,
and you would have the healthy versions, healthy carbs, but they still had gluten.
well, the thing is,
You were also hyper prone because you were like your immune system was
well,
depressed.
this
You
is
had gone
the
through
thing.
chemo. It might have
When
triggered it.
when you have chemo, that is a very strong drug. It's killing cancer cells, but it's killing other
Right,
things
it might
too.
have created the problem.
It creates problems with your other organs. Chemo, it has other effects. So I think that chemo changed my body. I have a lot of other things right now, different sensitivities, different itching, different immune things. So it does change your body. But he said that I had a sensitivity to gluten. Well, sure enough, I gave up gluten and all of it went away
Yeah, like immediately.
which is crazy.
So I feel like after that happened, you were still in bed, but the hand pain wasn't as bad, and I was trying to get you to exercise then. It's probably like
The hand pain got
spring
better.
of 23. You were just very tired.
I was exhausted all the time. The radiation makes you very tired. I would go to radiation in the morning, come home, get right into bed, and it doesn't just go away the last day. The effects of these treatments, they last for a while. They can last up to a year.
Yeah.
And I was just exhausted. And then I came here.
Yeah, I feel like at first, before we came here, it was like, let's just get out of the house and walk the dogs up and down the street.
Which
and
I did.
Even that was hard, though.
It was.
I think we started with that, and we only did it like once or twice, and it was really difficult.
Well, when you're in your 60s and you're first, I mean, at that point, it was like I was first starting a exercise program for the first time.
Right, part of why you were so tired, in addition to all of the stuff that happened, is that you hadn't exercised in a decade.
You don't exercise
There's a lot of muscle atrophy.
because you're tired, and then you just can't get yourself into the frame
Yeah.
of mind to do it.
Some of it's mental, some of it's physical. It's a combination of everything.
You just
It's
get get into a rut,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. So
I don't remember whose idea it was to come here the first
it was
time.
yours.
But like I'd never been here before.
No, I used to talk about it.
You used to talk about it, yeah.
And you knew that I liked it, and that what went on here, and you decided that you were going to take me, and I said, I'll go, and Dad thought it was a great idea for the two of us to come, and I'm a spa girl.
I only
way
wanted
back.
to come so that I could bet on the Massachusetts baseball games while we were here. That's the
Yeah.
only reason.
I know, but
it was a dual it was a work and it was multi-functioning trip.
But we came here,
Multiple
and
ROI.
that little trip for 4 days changed my life, because I went home and I started exercising again. And when I first went back to the gym, I started off with at Lifetime they have an Aurora program for over 50, and I started taking those classes because I was afraid to take the more intense classes, and I took those a few times, and then I said, it's time for me to just start to do the other things. And I started doing bar a few times a week, and then I started doing strength classes, and I got a trainer, and I just gradually made my workouts more intensive, and I've really developed a lot of muscle, and I feel strong.
No, it's insane that we're doing the same classes now.
Yeah.
We've been here in the 2 days, the 5 classes. I think we split up once. I mean, we're basically doing the same stuff.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah. You go to the gym probably as often as I do.
I go.
Yeah. The bar is not like those classes, those cardio things with all the like movements that men don't normally do, because like guys like to lift weights and they don't do the core strength and the hip mobility and all that stuff. Like, it's very difficult.
And after all that treatment, I was sleeping in the morning till 10, 11 o'clock, and now I'm up sometimes 7:30. I'm out the door to the gym.
Yeah.
I just go. Whatever time I go to sleep, I just wake up. I go.
Yeah.
It's made all the difference.
Yeah. And we came here and we ate all the healthy food, and I think it's kind of just like the setting. It like changes your mindset. Like if I just said let's start going to Lifetime and I took you when you hadn't been to the gym in a while, it wouldn't have felt the same, like the mental part of it. Because like once we got here 2 years ago, like you kind of just, it like puts you in a different mode.
Right, and now we came this time, 2 years later, with no mental or physical problems to resolve. We came here just to have a good time.
Yeah.
And we are having a good time.
It's a good time.
It's a good time.
We're doing a podcast outside. No one's walked out here yet.
We're just sitting outside
In the
doing a
robes.
podcast. We're in our robes, you know, we're eating right, we're exercising, we went shopping today.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
What do you think the other people who have walked, because no one's been out here, but people are walking by the hallways, they can see out the window that we're doing this. What do you think they think this is? Or it doesn't matter? Who
I
cares?
have no idea. We've been doing an advertisement for Canyon Ranch.
That's kind of, we'll use some of it for that. We're doing a commercial.
I'm just indulging you.
Yeah, sure. I think you like this more than you realize.
It's because I love to talk to you.
Okay. No, but you like to talk also.
But I love to talk to you.
Okay.
I do.
I also like to talk, but yes, talking to you especially is better.
And I love to talk about things that happened, and I love to reminisce, and yeah, I enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is like such an unusual activity compared to what most of my life I would have wanted to do. Well, because you were we're not going to go on we're going to end this soon. We're not going to do a whole tangent. But you were very quiet when you were younger, and then you changed where you can be life of the party. And then I had to do the same thing. And now I'm like trying to convince you that no one cares. Like,
We're very similar.
Yeah.
I always say you're the female version of me.
That's a good compliment.
Yeah, that's so sweet. We have a lot of the same interests. We do things together. We do our crossword puzzles together.
We have to stop the podcast now so we can do the crossword.
We do our crossword puzzles together. We're interested in a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
I enjoy your company.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just perfect.
Yeah.
For me. Just that my son, who's 34 years old, enjoys going away with mom for a few days. To me, that just means everything. It just means the world to me.
Yeah.
It's just so sweet. Yeah. Every mother should have a son like that.
Okay, should we end on that?
Yeah, we
that's
should.
That's a good conclusion. Okay.
Yes.
And we have to go to sleep because we have another day of boot camp tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
And our treatments and massages and all of the things. Okay.